We're now joined by former Northumberland-Quinte West MP Paul Macklin. Paul, thanks for joining me. And first, let's just start on your thoughts on when you heard the news of the passing of Kim Rudd.
Well, I think it's like a rather normal situation that you may know that someone is fighting a disease, but when the final word comes that they have succumbed to it, I mean, it's absolutely shocking. And you always think that people will be around forever, and you just can't easily accept the fact that someone has passed.
Paul, when and where did you first get to meet and interact and work with Kim?
Well, I would have to go back quite a ways because I just after I came to Coburg as a lawyer, I met her when she was starting up the Cook Day School out on Danforth Road. And it sort of gave me an indication as to who she was. She was obviously interested in children and family, and was a person who was going to go out into the world and be an entrepreneur. She wasn't going to sit back and just idly let someone else run things. No, she's a very dedicated person who was, well, obviously was at one point, I think, honored as being a Woman Entrepreneur of the Year. And she went on to prove that over her span of involvement in business and through the Chamber of Commerce and other things. She was truly a very devoted and dedicated person to advancing causes that she felt were important.
Were you surprised after her long entrepreneurial career that she ventured into the political scene and ran as the MP for the Liberal Party in Northumberland?
Not really. You know, when people stand out in your community, you'd like to have them represent you. And in her case, it was obvious. She was a perfect person to go forward and give us the, I think, representation that we'd always wanted here from all of our representatives. She was, as I say, dedicated, devoted, driven, and you know, that was very important. Anyone going into Parliament, though, also has to realize that it's not a one-man show. You have to work as a team, and she was a good team player as well.
Paul, what's this loss mean to this community and to yourself?
Well, I think that the loss, obviously, first and foremost, is to her family. I mean, truly, Tom and the children and grandchildren are going to miss her immensely. In terms of the community, well, she was a Rotarian, and I know that that was another way in which she was able to serve locally, and she made her voice and her actions felt. No, she's a person who has always been around, and so those people, when they're not with you anymore, you notice that they're missing.
What are you personally going to remember about Kim and miss the most about her? Because, you know, you being a former MP, you had many interactions with her in the business world, as well as a Rotary member as well.
Well, I think the first thing you miss is her smile, her hug, and her cheery voice that she would greet you with every time. She was never a down person, always positive, and you certainly miss that because not everyone shares that perspective. I think that in the end, we're going to miss her actions that she has participated in throughout the community. She certainly hasn't been a shrinking violet. And the other thing is, although she presented as a soft-spoken woman, inside that velvet glove, there was a steel fist. And she really did know how to maneuver and get things done in our community. So I believe that that's one of the things we're going to clearly miss.
It's funny that you say that, Paul, because I've conducted at least 4 interviews already, and everybody kind of said the same thing in a different way, that Kim had that demeanor to have, as you stated, a soft-spoken to you, but she knew when it was time to get busy behind the scenes and get something done, and she was more than willing to share her opinion on those matters, on ways to get it completed.
That's right. And no, she you know, like her interest in education too, you know, we sometimes forget about that part of her. She was quite an educator in her own way. When I say she started at the Cook's Daycare for children, she also carried on and opened a branch of Willis College in Coburg so that we had that access to further education. And not only did she open that, but then she became very involved in the college scene, and she went out and became an active member. I think she even set up some committees that were dealing with making the college system stronger in Ontario. Yeah, no shrinking violet. This young lady was, or at least young lady to me, was always there pushing the boundaries and making things happen.
Wrapping this up, Paul, what do you think is going to be Kim's lasting legacy here in Northumberland County?
That's interesting because I think her legacy will be representative of her life. I mean, she really was involved in so many facets of our community that all of those who are at this time living and had interactions with her will clearly say she changed the way in which our community functioned. She always strived to make things better, and clearly she will be missed.
Paul, thanks for taking time out and sharing your thoughts on the passing of Kim.
Thank you very much for asking, Mark.